church donations, having recently pledged 120 million to a city church. As criticism mounts, his defiance grows, insisting his contributions are a divine duty. Yeah, God has called upon our president to donate to the church, and that full story is on page 4 of the Standard. And still sticking to the Standard, page 3, the healing power of forgiveness helps reunite man with son after 31 years. And I'll get this man parted ways with his wife when she was pregnant, 6 months pregnant, and he was meeting the son for the first time after 31 years. Yeah, that's forgiveness, deadbeat, but forgiveness nonetheless. Still sticking to the Standard, page 2, Sakaja regrets garbage dumping as 2 senior officials interdicted, and that's on page 2. Yeah, and get this. County costly dispute of 4.9 billion shillings is the amount that was owed by Kenya Power to the Nairobi City County. But of more importance is the 2 senior officers that were interdicted in this story. But my question is, who had sanctioned those orders? That's a story that we'll be getting clarity on page 2 of the Standard. And lastly, on the Standard, page 6, parents, learners bear the burden of financial crisis in public schools. Now, we've been seeing a lot of this where learning institutions are choking in huge debts while parents are paying extra levies. And as students resume classes after midterm break, the reality of Kenya's public school funding crisis is hitting hard. And this crisis is of course ongoing because school fees has gone up by the thousands. If you want to catch that full story, is on page 6 of the Standard.
I think as we're talking about schools, might as well keep it education. The Star front page revealed major cover-up in fake papers inquiry. Now, it reads in part that hundreds of civil servants who landed their jobs fraudulently continue to receive pay from government coffers despite being unmasked for using fake certificates. In a major cover-up, most of those who have survived the purge are highly connected people and relatives of politicians. And by the way, if you don't know, hiring unqualified people is argued to affect the productivity and overall performance of institutions. Hence why we see our government institutions as falling apart left, right, and center. Experts have also warned of the dangers of taking such persons on board, especially at crucial institutions. Despite the risks, though, various audit reviews have smoked out such individuals in the public service. Some of the targeted individuals are highly connected, according to insider information. And it just doesn't go with Kenya's secondary school certificates. It goes all the way to universities. We saw the university that gave Sudi his degree.
Oh yeah, the man was arrested.
Yeah. So usikuja kuringira na hiyo CV yako Sudi. The university you got explains why. Hey, what's the word? We now give you the power to read.
Power to read.
Kind of need to read in order to have the power to read. Still on the Star, raw deal. Billions down the drain in stalled county projects. You can read up on that story on page 6. Nyandarua 681.71 million, Nakuru 56.818 million, Bomet 314.9 million installed things. Samburu, if you can see any development going on there, any project, well, don't be surprised if there's none, because 206.53 million stalled, but the one that grabs the cake, the second biggest one has got to be Tharaka Nithi. Of course, Tharaka Nithi will come out. Mwaga votes. 525.29 million. But the mother of them is Kakamega. 7.24 billion in stalled county projects.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
You know, this country doesn't have a money problem, evidently, because the amount of money we've been speaking about on this show are insane. The Business Daily, KRA waives 140 billion under tax amnesty program. The Kenya Revenue Authority has written off debts of about 140 billion in accumulated interest and penalties for companies and individuals under the second phase of the partial tax pardon the agency announced yesterday. Now, this waiver has been extended to more than 1.9 million taxpayers who have cleared principal taxes for the period up to December 2023, and KRA has said that the beneficiaries have been roped into the tax net. If you want to catch that full story, is on page 5. This is where you take advantage of this tax amnesty. And still sticking to the Business Daily on the front page, USAID contract grant cuts in Kenya now hit 108 billion. Now, the value of terminated deals has gone up to 75.8 billion in 2 weeks. And the value of big ticket contracts terminated by the US government in Kenya has crossed the 108 billion mark, even as President Trump's government issued more closure notices vowing to cut back on foreign aid. Now, that's a story that you can get on the Business Daily page 2, because they do give a detailed breakdown of how that figure has been arrived at. But yeah, we are really struggling when it comes to aid.
But money is there, I can tell you that. We've been talking about crazy figures. It doesn't end now. You'd need that money to have business, right? But business news is coming up with Unia in just a second. So let me rush you through the Daily Nation. 124 billion wheat imports sink farmers into losses. Local wheat growers have been hung to dry after the government allowed a group of millers to spend at least 124.5 billion to ship over 3.2 million tons of the same product farmers harvested in plenty right here in Kenya.
Yeah.
Farmers may be forced to sell their grain at a loss to avoid losing their entire harvest, with senators now probing how and why, not just how, but why the firms were given the nod to import.
Can I just
have an
add to
answer.
that? Because
Corruption.
here's the thing. 400,000 bags sit in silos since August of last year. Yet people were cleared to import wheat. That is impunity of the highest order. Sorry, I cut down your story.
Also described
Very
as
infuriating.
corruption.
Corruption,
It's
yeah.
insane.
Oh, yeah.
Have we ever had anyone being a minister in agriculture and had maize scandal? Oh no. Like I said, vertigo, so I can't think straight. Anyway, Ugandan minister, Daily Nation also gives you a story on page 2. In October 2024, a New York-based accountant, Brian Hill, was approached by a lawyer, Randolph Adler, with a proposal to invest in a lucrative gold trading scheme that would see him partner with an individual touted as one of the biggest dealers in the world. 5 months later, Mr. Hill lost 81.8 million shillings.
Ooh.
He's running round in circles trying to recover his money and hoping that authorities will help him get justice. That is the story on page 2. Ugandan minister, a U.S. tycoon, and Kenyan ties to an 81 million fake gold scam.
Ooh. Don't we
Do we
have
have a leader or anywhere in Kenya that has been caught up in any gold scam? I'm a vertigo tena inanisumbua.
hapa ninaweza kuwa labda ni speaker wa
I
National
don't-
Assembly.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that was
Speaking
that story.
of,
Capital Business News.
In the headlines, IMF launches governance review in Kenya to address corruption and boost economic performance, and Ford February U.S. sales drop 8.9%. The International Monetary Fund has begun an official review of Kenya's corruption and governance issues. The findings of the technical assessment will enable the government to implement priority governance reforms to fight corruption and support economic growth, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi said in a statement after a meeting with Rebecca Spackman, Deputy Division Chief at the Fiscal Affairs Department of the IMF. Mudavadi welcomed the IMF's response to the Kenyan government's request for a governance diagnostic assessment, starting with a scoping mission and then a full assessment later in the year. The move to invite the IMF team came after President William Ruto, under pressure from young protesters demanding accountability, promised to propose changes to the relevant law in July 2024 to seal the loopholes that undermine the fight against corruption. Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango has urged the National Treasury to lower the country's debt to GDP ratio to 55% by 2029. The recommendations comes as part of efforts to address ongoing concerns regarding the sustainability of the nation's public debt. According to the Controller of Budget, Kenya's total nominal public debt as a percentage of GDP has been steadily declining from 71.9% in 2022 to 65.7% in June last year. However, the ratio remains significantly higher than the International Monetary Fund's recommended threshold of 50% for developing countries. Ford Motor Company has announced that it sold 158,675 vehicles in the United States in February 2025, down 8.9% from the same period last year. Ford sales of hybrid vehicles rose by 27.5% to 15,357 units. Sales of electric vehicles increased by 15% to 7,326 units, and sales of internal combustion engine cars fell by 12.7% to 135,992 units. Ford sales of trucks rose by 7.7% to 91,735 units in February. That of SUVs fell by 24.4%. The U.S. automaker attributed the February sales fall to cost cut and the potential impact of U.S. tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico. For more on these and other stories, dial star 411 star 26 hash. More business news at 9:15. I'm Unia Amunga.
Capital Business News. Quarter after laughter on Capital in the Morning.
And it was a Sunday morning. I was in bed early in the morning, maybe like 9 or 10 o'clock. And the phone rings, and it's my baby brother using my mom's phone. His name's Isaac. He's 9 years old. So I answer the phone. Like, hello? Hello, Trevor? I say, hey, Isaac, what do you want? How are you? I'm fine, thanks. I'm also fine, thank you. I'm fine, thanks, and how are you, Isaac? I'm fine, thanks, and how are you? I'm fine, thank you. It's a pleasure. Trevor, are you busy? Yeah, sort of. Why? No, because Mom's been shot. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, Mom's been shot and we're at the hospital. Can you come? Mom's been shot. Okay, what do you mean? Okay, yeah, of course I can come. Okay, which hospital? Tell me that. And he tells me the hospital. I dropped off. Okay, can you come? Like, he's too polite for his own good. He's too, like, can you come? Like what, I'm gonna have to slot Mom into my schedule? Just find, coffee at 2 and then PlayStation at 1. Okay, Mom, we'll try. Come on, can I come? Of course I can come. I'm panicking.
Capital Traffic and Travel.
The roads. What's happening? Let us know. 07019849984 Langata Road. Ooh, traffic. Delays 5 minutes. Landis Road, 16-minute delay. That is bumper to bumper. If red is your favorite color, that's the road you need to be hitting. And the Eastern Bypass, delays of 15 minutes. The city is up and moving. Just be disciplined on the roads as you move, because all indications are there's heavy traffic across the city.
Capital Traffic and Travel.
Honey, come here. Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything.
Exactly. The kids are gone.
Put in your request now.
Freedom!
The School Bus Rush.